Dear viewers, welcome back to another episode of Editorial Analysis by Drishti IAS. Through this segment, we focus on important editorials from major newspapers such as The Hindu, The Indian Express, Business Standard, Live Mint, etc. for effective understanding of our students. Now, in this program, we primarily focus on three things. First, we try to link the editorial with that of the UPSC syllabus. Secondly, we try to learn what are the key points that are mentioned in the editorial. And lastly, and most importantly, we try to decode and decipher the key concepts, if any, that are mentioned in the editorial. We truly hope that you love this initiative of Dristhi IAS. Dear viewers, please feel free to give us your valuable suggestions and opinions so that we can strive to do better each and every day. So with a lot of gratitude in our hearts to our viewers, let us commence today's session of Editorial Analysis.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
For today, we have opted for the editorial titled Minimum Government. The editorial is from Business Standard, dated 07/9/2020. The editorial talks about the intensifying performance pressure being applied on the bureaucracy. Now, let us try to link this editorial with the UPSC syllabus. Now, from prelims perspective, of course, it is a current event of national importance, but it's more important from a mains perspective, where we can link it with general studies too, connecting it with governance, and to further narrow it down, we can link it with role of civil services in a democracy. Now, what are the key points that are mentioned in the editorial? Now, you might be aware of the government's maxims of minimum government, maximum governance, or the recent reform, perform, and transform initiatives. Now, with this initiative in mind, the central government has doubled its efforts to streamline and improve the efficiency of India's vast bureaucracy. Now, let us try to understand this through learning the timeline of reforms. Now, in 2016, the government had introduced a corporate-style 360-degree appraisal for government servants in addition to the annual confidential report. While in 2018 and 19, the government promoted lateral entry, wherein a proportion of posts at the level of joint secretary, director, and deputy secretary were opened for domain experts outside the service, which meant the government would invite bankers or industrialists who are experts in their particular field to join the government. And finally, a few days ago in 2020, the government introduced Mission Karmayogi to make the bureaucracy more creative, proactive, professional, and technology-enabled. However, the editorial is more worried about the recent guidelines and these timeline of reforms. Now, the guidelines that were released a few days ago to review the performance of government servants in the 50 to 55 age group, or those who have completed 30 years of service. Now, as per the guidelines, the government has put in a lot of effort to state that those found to be corrupt or inefficient would be mandatorily retired or fired. Now, the government has used Fundamental Rule 56J of the Central Civil Services Pensions Rule 1972, wherein they compulsorily retired 27 senior tax officers due to corruption charges, 22 revenue senior officers were fired for corruption, and 284 staff from the central service was shortlisted for retirement. Now, along with this, the government has also created a register of civil servants who are in this target group, and their performance will be reviewed on a quarterly basis. Now, from the greater outlook of it, yes, it kind of sends a very clear message, but the editorial has also raised issues related to this. Now, in the last 6 years, the retirement and firing of 300 members, which we mentioned earlier, out of a 2 million strong bureaucracy, definitely does not suggest that the exercise has been applied with so much of vigor. Now, another factor is the age factor involved in the policy. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the recent guidelines targeting in the age group of 50 to 55 senior civil servants, or those who have completed 30 years of service in India or in the government. So this guideline that is targeting them is flawed as per the editorial. And why do they state that? Because now, firstly, you need to remember that bureaucrats with almost 30 years of experience in the government, they bring invaluable insight and knowledge to the jobs, because anyone knows with experience in a job, you learn and you bring in a lot of ideas to the current job. Now, secondly, if the idea is to weed out corruption and inefficiency, the editorial is asking that, it is very unclear why the policy is not applicable to younger officers, and why are we only targeting in the age group of 50 to 55 or those people who have above 30 years of experience in the civil services. And another issue the editorial has raised is the relationship between politicians and bureaucrats are overly complex and tricky. It is very common that, a lot of bureaucrats, after they serve a government for a particular time, they tend to join politics, or, they would like to, get much better plum posts. So they would try to circumvent, the ideals of the civil services. So therefore, this criterion of efficiency can vary and be very subjective. And another point that the editorial has raised is about the frequent punishment transfers of bureaucrats. For example, Ashok Kenkar from Haryana, or Raju Narayanaswamy in Kerala, who are known for their integrity or efficiency, and they have received quite a bit of punishment transfers because of their integrity and efficiency. And this points to the political constraints on bureaucratic functioning. And another factor the editorial raises is the holding bureaucrats accountable for their past decisions. It also remains as a major obstacle to fearless efficiency. Now, for example, the coal block allocation scam, wherein H.C. Gupta, the coal secretary, and 3 other IAS officers were imprisoned for being involved in the scam. However, after the imprisonment, a year later, the new government had also privatized the coal block allocations, which was kind of similar to what they did before. So, to conclude, the editorial says, they absolutely agree it is important to reform and clean the bureaucracy. However, the measures introduced should not turn into an exercise of political vindictiveness. So, with this, we conclude the key points that we are supposed to learn from the editorial. And now we move to the key concepts that we have to learn from the editorial. And most importantly, we have to focus on Mission Karmayogi, or the National Program for Civil Services Capacity Building. Now, a few days ago, the government has approved the Mission Karmayogi, or the National Program for Civil Services Capacity Building, and it has been dubbed as the biggest initiative to reform the bureaucracy. Now, a Mission Karmayogi, what is it? It is simply a capacity building scheme for civil servants. Now, the scheme aims at upgrading the post-recruitment training mechanism of the officers and employees at all levels. Now, to paraphrase what the Prime Minister said, this exercise will radically improve the government's human resource management practices through capacity building of civil servants by using state-of-the-art infrastructure. Now, under the Mission Karmayogi, the officers and employees of the government will get an opportunity to improve their performance. That means they will be made more creative, constructive, imaginative, innovative, proactive, professional, progressive, energetic, enabling, transparent, and most importantly, technology enabled. Now, how does the government plan to implement the Mission Karmayogi? Now, the Mission Karmayogi will be delivered by setting up a digital platform called I Got Karmayogi. Now, what is this platform going to do? It will act as a launchpad for the National Program for Civil Services Capacity Building, or Mission Karmayogi. And what will it do? It will enable a comprehensive reform of the capacity building apparatus at the individual, institutional, and process levels. Now, this Mission Karmayogi, or the capacity building scheme, will be governed by the Prime Minister's Human Resource Council. Now, what is this council? This council will include state chief ministers, union cabinet ministers, and domain experts. And what is the objective of this council? This council will approve and review civil service capacity building programs. Now, other than this Human Resource Council, there will also be a Cabinet Secretary Coordination Unit comprising of select secretaries and cadre controlling authorities. Now, other than these two bodies, a capacity building commission will also be created. Now, what is this commission? This commission will include, again, domain experts in related fields and global professionals who will help the government in creating new programs for capacity building. This commission will prepare and monitor annual capacity building plans, and they will audit human resources that is available in the government. Now, in order to run all these commissions and missions, the wholly owned special purpose vehicle will also be created by the government. Now, the special purpose vehicle will govern the iGot Karmayogi platform. So, it will be set up as a not-for-profit under Section 8 of the Companies Act of 2013. So, now this SPV will govern, own and manage the iGot Karmayogi platform. And other than all of this, besides the SPV and the mission, an appropriate monitoring and evaluation framework will also be put in place for performance evaluation of all users of the iGot Karmayogi platform. Now, for this whole mission, what has the government decided to cost it? Now, the mission or the aim of the mission will cover around 46 lakh central employees, and the government has demarcated a sum of rupees 510 crores, approximate figure, over a period of 5 years, that is from 2020-21 to 2024-25. Now, this expenditure is partly funded by the government and also will receive multilateral assistance to the tune of $50 million. So, with this, we conclude the key concept about Mission Karmayogi that we had to learn from the editorial. Now, let us try to look at this editorial from the prelims and mains perspective. Now, from prelims perspective, of course, we can expect questions related to Mission Karmayogi and its objectives. Also related to the council, the commissions, etc., or the special purpose vehicle. And from mains examination, there has constantly been questions related to bureaucracy. Now, for example, traditional bureaucratic structure and culture hampered the process of socio-economic development in India. Comment. This question will definitely, when you try to answer this question, you will have to include about Mission Karmayogi and the other reforms that are suggested for improving the civil services. Now, after this, we would like you to, give a try at the questions that we have made for you. One, what is Mission Karmayogi and how will it reform the Indian civil services? And another question is, it is vital that the drive towards weeding out aging non-performers in the bureaucracy does not degenerate into political vindictiveness. Critically examine the statement based on the editorial we have analyzed today. So, dear viewers, please feel free to leave your answers in the comment below so that we can discuss these issues. So, with this, we conclude today's session of editorial analysis. We hope that we have done thorough justice to this topic. Dear viewers, please give us your valuable suggestions so that we can always try to do better and improve ourselves every day. So, until next time, stay safe. Thank you and good night.